Hello, CHFFL members, and welcome to our pre-draft strategy discussion. I'm here along with Mark Jones, and we apologize for the delay, a little bit of technical difficulties. But Mark, how are you?
Yeah, Alex, it's good to be here. Good to be spending some time. Great to be back for another year of the CHFFL.
Absolutely wonderful. All right, so before we get into strategy talk, I just want to remind everybody to go get on and pay your dues. I'm sure that the people who have already done this can tell you that it's pretty easy with the new DraftKings. Even if you can't pay before the draft, still get on and just join the hub, it's called, so that I know everybody is not having the same technical issues Parker was having with that. So, Mark, you could probably go ahead and do that anytime. So I noticed you haven't yet.
Yeah, I
Draft
haven't.
is
I apologize.
Draft is Tuesday at 9 p.m. I couldn't be more excited. Before then, though, I'm still leaving the discussion of changing any league settings open until around that time. I know a couple of people said maybe not play 17 weeks this season. I could go either way, but if you want to advocate for that, you need to start advocating. Otherwise, we're going to go through with our normal routine. All right, so first on the agenda for Mr. Jones here, that big trade with Grant. You traded the first overall pick and I believe the 70th around there for the 11th and 38th. What do you think about that?
I was really happy with it. I was. Grant texted me at first, and eventually we kind of came down to terms, and I think both of us benefited from that one. I think Grant has somebody that he really wants, and me sitting at one, I was not looking at the board and thinking there was anybody who was a clear-cut number one.
Yeah, I have to say number one is kind of scary this year. Although
Yeah.
you might have gotten that deal though, partially thanks to me. I was in negotiations with Grant for a little bit too, and your trade was very similar to the structure of one we had lined up. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to pull the trigger though, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, but I think it's good for you. It's one of those things where I know it's good, but gotta
No, yeah, I know what you mean.
have that gut.
I was looking at what I could probably get at 11 and thinking that the person at 11 might end up outplaying the number one overall seed this year or number
Hmm.
one overall pick this year. So the
Yeah, it could
upgrade, the
be.
seventh pick to the fourth pick was, I think, a pretty big move. I got Antonio Brown in the fourth round last year.
Well, that's incredible. He definitely be the first wide receiver off the board, I imagine, with our
I would
Pittsburgh
hope so,
heavy
especially
lead.
with the Pittsburgh fantasy league that we have here.
We could see probably see two Steelers go in the first five or six picks. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, who would have thought?
And so, what do you think after the draft is done? What do you think that any challenges or any benefits from this big trade could be for your team?
It's just about drafting value at that position throughout the draft, and then after, I think that I think I'm going to actually have one of the deeper teams with good talent. So I'm hoping that's what that trade's going to do for me, and eventually, find a few sleepers, and then maybe make a move here either early in the year or late in the year. Try to get the whippersnappers back up in the championship.
Well, you guys had a great season last year. Really, really kudos on last year. I was terrified facing you guys in the last week. But, when you have that extra pick in the 30s, you could probably spend a flyer on a big sleeper a little earlier just because you have the depth build up. That's going to be kind of fun for you as the draft goes late.
I'm hoping. I normally try to highlight a few sleepers and see if I can get them at the right round, and then beyond that, I mean, I think we've talked about this before. It's just drafting value and hoping things fall right for you.
Always, always. I always draft for value, and it's worked out for the two of us over the years, drafting values over doing the positional runs. Now, it sounds like we're transitioning into the main topic of this discussion. Since you and I, and maybe a couple of others, we've kind of been at the top for quite a while, I want to share some of our wisdom with the rest of the players in the league. So, Mark Jones, give me some tips if I'm trying to get prepped for the CHFFL draft. What's on your mind when you're prepping?
I think the biggest thing I look for in draft is the players that are going to have the ball in their hand the most. I know I'm trying to think back to for instance, the number one running back from the Houston Texans, probably 6 years ago, there was a running back competition, and I believe I selected Arian Foster,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
Oh
his
yeah.
breakout year. So you just kind of look at the player who you could get a good value for.
So
He's
you
going to
look
get
at
a lot of touches.
opportunity.
That
You
Yeah,
don't want
exactly.
these
You just
guys
hope that
that.
you hit one of those.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I'm normally skeptical of these really talented guys that are buried on the depth chart. If they get an
Yeah,
injury and have a good game, maybe they'll get some carries. I don't like drafting that way. All right,
I
so
100% agree.
I'll
You
take
take your
the
for
next
sure
one.
things at the top, or at least as much as you can have for sure things in this
Hmm.
stupid game we play.
Oh, I know. It's vexing. Might be worse than golf in some ways.
Yeah, that's true.
But all right, so I have a couple here. I think mock drafting at least once or twice is important. Just to see, because until you know with your picks who you might have in certain drafts, you're going to have an idea in your head of which positions you'll take in what draft and
Yep.
what slot. You agree with that?
I completely agree with that. It kind of gives you a good feel of what group of players you're going to be looking at.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I have, we're on ESPN, and although I'm guessing one or two people will watch this video and get some of our tips, but I'm guessing most people in our league are going to use ESPN's cheat sheet and ESPN's ranking as their kind of basis. So I think you need to know that, even if you're using outside sources, to know where people are probably going to know the average draft positions, for example.
Yep. I think the other thing you need to be careful of is ESPN normally bases off of standard point scoring.
That's a big one, and especially for our league, I think that's an excellent
Wide
point, Mark.
receivers, yeah.
Wide receivers in our league are simply more valuable than running backs in comparison to a standard league because we give 3 points for every 20 yards. Wide receivers can have huge games, and wide receivers that return kicks or running backs that return kicks, it can be a huge boost. We get 1 point for every 25 yards. And the last big one I can think of is you want people who are going to have big plays. You don't want slow and steady guys because we give those ridiculous bonuses if you catch long touchdowns or run for long
One
touchdowns.
long bomb, yeah.
Oh, it can be the whole game. One catch for 80 yards, he can go sit on the bench and.
What is it? 23 points, one catch, 80 yards. Yeah, nuts.
Yeah, something like that. 12 plus 6 for the touchdown plus the bonus. So yeah, 23. It's incredible. So I think wide receivers definitely better, kick returners and breakaway players. Other things, I think use outside research. I think don't restrict yourself to ESPN's guys. They're really pretty bad.
I had somebody in mind.
I have somebody in mind. Although this year I took a look at the players I had slotted out, and Matthew Berry came out with his love-hate for the year, and I thought, gosh darn it, Parker's drafting all the same guys I'm drafting.
I saw he was down on Stafford this year, so thankfully Parker's not going to go for him.
Oh, no. Oh, what an internal conflict Paul must be facing. Oh. Quarterbacks and tight ends are crazy this year, though. Some people are waiting till the very, very end to pick them. Stan's going to pick Rodgers, so I don't know if he'll let Rodgers fall to the second round or not, even though quarterback's not favored this year.
I was joking around with Stan when I was at the number one spot still, and I was going to tell him I was just going to take Rodgers because I knew he'd trade me 2 players for him.
Oh, I could probably get on that, to be honest.
I'm sure you can make a move there.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought I knew what I was going to do at number 3, but then what you just brought up about the scoring and our league being different, I found this calculator that you plug in your league's settings and they use the projections to tell you who's best for your league. And I don't know. I mean, reaching for a wide receiver in the first round is not a bad idea at all. Now I don't know what I'm going to do.
And you know what? I will say at the 3 spot, having Antonio Brown last year, the consistency he is in a wide receiver is just unbelievable too.
Oh yeah, and the breakaways too. I mean, he catches a lot of long ones.
Kind of gives it all to you.
So it could. I mean, my goal. I don't want to make you divulge strategy for this draft, so we're not talking about too many player specifics. But I will say I wouldn't be surprised if on draft day if I don't get one of the running backs I want at number 3, Antonio Brown might go.
Yeah. No, I don't think you would get any judgment from anybody on that one.
Well, thanks. Do you have anything else here that you think is important to mention for everybody getting ready for the big day?
I pay attention to those late rounds. You can always find somebody late.
Yep, that's definitely another good one. Have your sleepers, know your sleepers. You don't want to be digging through the bottom of your cheat sheet, whatever you're using, trying to find them. Have them noted out beforehand. Yeah. I have one last one. You want this? It's great. I think you should have fun with the draft. That's my biggest tip. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the strategy behind that is if I pick a player that I like, I'm gonna have a better year. I'm gonna be on my team more. I'm gonna be rooting for my team more, which means I'm gonna be hitting the waiver wires. Pick guys you like. Don't pick guys that the experts say. If you have a gut feeling, always go with it.
I completely agree because it's that much more satisfying if it works out.
Oh. One that's killing me is Gurley. I want Gurley, but I hate picking guys that are injured to start the year. Oh, that's because I'm a dog now, but I don't know, man.
That's a tough one. Maybe if we were doing that keeper league, or if we were going to keep somebody.
That's why I wanted the keeper league, because he's going way too early, and somebody's gonna. I'm not gonna draft him where ESPN has him ranked. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But I want him. I might have to trade for him just because I'll be watching all of his games with interest anyway. All right. Well, any final notes from you, Mark?
No, that's all from me. I'm looking forward to another year.
All right. Well, so am I. So, yes. Last thing is do your homework. I unfortunately have some real homework, but you can bet before we draft Tuesday night, I'll be reviewing absolutely everything I can with regards to this draft. I'm going to come out hitting it hard. I know you will too, Mark. And I hope all of our players will. All right.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Alex.
Best of luck, Mark. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, same to you. Same to you.
All right. And everyone else, go pay those league dues, and I will be seeing you Tuesday night for the draft.